This is not the United States of Patrick Bet-David. This is the United States.
And usually I like to see this Jubilee, but today this one's one of, I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm so glad I left the Democratic Party. These are some liberal, way past liberal. These are Marxist and communist people. They believe in communism and they're sick, okay? And God bless Patrick Bet-David.
How are you? What's your name?
Hi, I'm Alana. It's nice to meet you. Okay, so I think the issue is the framing of incentive here. Incentive doesn't disappear in a socialist or a communist society. It just changes and evolves. So we see in capitalism, the incentive is obviously monetary gain, maybe even collecting capital itself through land ownership. In a communist or a socialist country, you would see incentive would just evolve into, I know it's a vague term, but the common good. You have an incentive to do your chores around your house because you don't want to live in a filthy house, right? That makes sense. It doesn't have to be just monetary.
So you don't think monetary incentive drives people, or you're saying that people should be excited to do their job, whether they're getting incentivized for it or not? That's what you're saying.
People will be incentivized to do.
Give me a case study. Give me a case study of that worked. Give me one case study.
We don't even need to look at case studies. We can just look at charity work.
Well, why don't we actually look at a case study? You got two countries, North Korea, South Korea. One is communism and one is capitalism.
Yes.
North Korea's GDP last year was $23 billion.
Are we judging countries' values based off GDP and not what they value for
freedom of speech? You can't, like, if you lived in North Korea, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing right now. You wouldn't have a voice. In South Korea, I'm gonna give you stats. In South Korea, their GDP is $1.7 trillion.
South Korea is also owned by like 5 companies in total in the entire
70
country.
Times better
you
than
think
North
that's something
Korea.
to live by? If you are employed by the top 5 countries, you are practically unemployed in these countries.
Do you like to be free?
I'm not going to be free in a country like South Korea where I'm only employed in 5 companies or no job. Do you like to be free to call somebody out like me?
Do you like to be free where you can have a strong opinion? Do you like to be free to have your dreams?
I like to be free, but that's why I'm anti-capitalist.
Well, maybe you ought
that
to move
is
to
why
North
I'm
Korea
anti-capitalist, because
Cuba
capitalism removes that choice. There is no real incentive of capitalism because the incentive is survival. When you get into communism, the incentive is for the common good.
I love that. I got an offer for you before we move on. If I were to give you your $2,350, which is the cost to renunciate your citizenship, and I paid you your first class, flight to whatever communist country, and $20,000 to spend the money.
Name me a communist country.
Would you give up your citizenship to go to that country?
And
whichever communist country you want to go to.
Yeah,
Cuba, we can give you Venezuela, we give you North Korea, any one of those you want to go to.
Communist countries,
choose any one of them, I'll give you a one-way ticket, and I'll fund it for you if you want to. Thank you, yes.
Please like, subscribe, and share this channel. We want to get as many people as possible, so please spread the word. Okay, so let's get to it. Please bear with me. I do have a cold. It is really annoying me, so I do apologize. So Patrick Bet-David, he went on Jubilee and did a debate with 20 socialists, communists, lunatics. That's what they are. And I thought Patrick Bet-David did a marvelous job. The only problem is that these liberals, these Marxists, they don't know when to shut up and listen. Like they get their point across and then they're supposed to listen, but instead they overtalk you. They don't let you get a word out. And you want to know why they do that? Because if you hit them with facts, they don't know how to respond. And the debate was about incentives. I think Patrick Bet-David feels that incentives drive capitalism. And it's the fuel. And he is 100% correct. Why we go to work, why we do the things we do. There's always an incentive. They feel, and you know what the funny part is that they think that they fail to realize, like for instance, let me give you an example. China knows that they have to make a deal with America because we are, we purchase more than any other country from them. Like we're like 30-something%. Every other country is not. We are the highest. So China makes a killing from America. And so China is a communist country. However, those factories that make the products and so forth, they have to be open. And Xi Jinping has to make sure that these factories, these people make money. Now, mind you, they might all be living like this, stable on one level. So they're not living rich or poor. They're just here, just barely surviving, while Xi Jinping and the other oligarchs live very well. And if those factories shut down and there's no money coming in, the people in China will revolt. They will go berserk, because that money needs to come in. Those products that they make in China needs to be sold. They need to be exported out. So these lunatics fail to understand why things are the way that it is and why capitalism work. Okay. Because we don't have to live in that type of society. We actually live in probably one of the best societies ever, and that's America. And I don't understand people why they feel they said something about Americans hunger in America, and I'm saying, this is the truth. That this is the truth. There's really no hunger here in America, because there's always somewhere where you can get something to eat. They have soup kitchens. They have everything for people to get something to eat. And the people that's homeless or choose to live in the street, they get money. They get money from the government. So it's not like they don't have. They just choose to live that way. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've listened to them. And I'm telling you, they don't want responsibilities. And that's this young generation today. They don't want any responsibility. They want the give me. And they think communism is just that. So you're going to work hard. Like, for instance, in Cuba, you have doctors. They're working hard. And then they have to go shine shoes because they need to make a little extra money. But yet, they can't really purchase a house and everything. They have to live accordingly. So they are poor. So you have doctors living poor. Okay? And they feel like that's the way to go. That's the life we need. It's insane. I mean, I've never seen nothing like this before.
How are you? What's your name?
Zena.
Zena.
Awesome. So this claim about incentive is one that we see often promoted by capitalism enjoyers, right? Mm-hmm. And it's this idea that, profit incentives is the only thing that can make humans do things, get up out of bed every day, which has never been the case. Historically, it's not the case. Psychologically.
Historically, it's never been the case?
No.
What has been the case?
So we've seen...
What's been the incentive?
The incentive is intrinsic motivation.
Intrinsic motivation?
Of course. Have you ever heard of intrinsic motivation?
Of course I have. So you think people are going to go just do anything for no incentives?
The incentive is intrinsic, meaning passion, interest, and honing your skills.
Whether you get paid or not.
Well, the problem is that we're forcing people to, need to, work to survive.
So what's the alternative? So give me another solution, another economical
system. May I finish the talking point?
Yeah, actually, I'm curious.
So the psychological theory of self-determination is widely accepted in psychology. It basically explains that intrinsic motivation and passion is actually what predicts incentive. You're arguing that incentive is integral to profit-driven motivation. That's not true. Extrinsic motivation, at all times, at every single case, is going to, predict less creativity, less motivation, less skill, etc. Intrinsic motivation is what causes things like technological development. Some of the greatest breakthroughs have been from people who are devoted in honing their skill.
So should they get paid for it?
I think that we shouldn't live in a system that privately owns the means of production and forces people in this position.
What college did you go to?
USC.
You went to USC. What did you major in?
Sociology.
Sociology. Who's your hero as a professor? Who's the professor you look up to?
This doesn't seem like a topic that's related to capitalism.
Do you know why I asked this question? The reason why I asked this question is because somebody convinced you of that. Somebody convinced you that is the way that
psychology and studies convinced me of this fact about the human mind.
But unfortunately, to your claim, results show that the greatest
economical
system
that intrinsic motivation predicts more creativity
that allows
and more
people to go above and beyond and
like
solve every single issue out there. An entrepreneur who gets up, who says,
"What was your claim again, mister?"
I'm going to incentive.
Incentive.
The entrepreneur
What about
who
incentive?
has an incentive to go out there and build their lives, and you put
So
no
I'm saying that this
monetary
incentive that you're talking about,
Yeah.
what predicts the best incentive, the best drive, and the best creativity
what do you think about
has
Elon
been proven
Musk?
by
What do you
psychology.
think about Elon Musk?
Can we respond to my claim?
This is about incentive.
All right,
though.
awesome. So you're arguing that incentive is intrinsic and tied to extrinsic motivation. What we find is that the best incentive comes from intrinsic motivation.
So a person that's passionate about solving an issue is going to build something bigger than somebody else that's not.
Yeah, so someone who has a true passion for this.
Yeah, so
exactly. So profit motivation is not the thing that's driving innovation, right?
Of course
Psychology.
it is. Of course
so
it is.
psychology proves that that's not the
if
case.
there's not,
that profit's
if
not the reason that we
there's
have
not,
the greatest inventions that we do today.
I don't know if I disagree with the fact that there's a passion behind it. Are you saying people with passion, even if there wasn't the incentive to make as much money as they would make, people would still
That's
pursue
exactly
it
what-
even with or without money?
That's what psychology
Well,
says.
your claims are wrong because
not true.
Whoever your psychology professor is,
It's
if
not-
you look at data and you find out how America, that's only been around for 249 years, schooled all the other countries that have been around for hundreds,
Yeah,
if
I'll
not
tell you
thousands
how.
of years
They
more,
schooled all-
they did better
they
than others because the incentive
because they
was
accumulated
free market
profit,
capitalism.
right, to
That's
a
why.
1% of the population
Not
and
necessarily.
continue to produce
Nope,
on that
not
basis.
necessarily. It's
Right? We
not-
have this. Okay.
It's
so
not necessarily.
Do we want to?
When you-
respond because you can say that
You've been
the
interrupting the entire time. So if
Right.
you're saying about the 1% are the problem and they're the only ones that make money,
That's
a lot
not
of
what I
people
said.
make money. You said the profit goes to the 1%.
I'm explaining how it is that America has become the dominant power that it is now, right? What we see is that because we have this engine, right, this desire to accumulate profit, we morally justify things like going into other countries, imperializing them, colonizing them, and extracting their resources, right, to funnel our country, right? Social democracies in the Nordic countries don't do this. So yeah, they might not be the wealthiest power, but they have higher rates of education, literacy, human satisfaction, etc. Right, so it depends on what we actually value in a society.
Behavior
Do we value well-being or do we value
human
profit
behavior
accumulation?
Validates your point. If that's the case, people would move to those states. They don't. When you judge a great restaurant by the amount of people that come in, you can say the food sucks here.
Yeah,
you
so
can say the
there were
service
millions
sucks
of people
here.
that lived
but
in
everybody's
Germany.
lined up to want to come here. They're not lined up to
Yeah,
go into
so
those
there are
countries.
there are
They're
millions-
just used by professors as theories.
There were
And
millions of people that also lived in Germany in the 1920s.
I lived in Germany before as well for 2 years.
So I wanted to talk about what this lady talked about. And so we're going to talk about communism and intrinsic motivation. So this was a theory, which was envisioned by Marx himself. And he believed that, alienation under capitalism suppresses intrinsic motivation. And he felt that workers are disconnected from the fruits of their labor, leading to apathy and burnout. Communism aims to restore that connection by eliminating private ownership and profit motives. That, I don't know. Also, work becomes self-fulfilling. In a classless society, labor is supposed to be driven by personal fulfillment and communal responsibility, not competition or fear of poverty. How ironic. Because in like Russia and Cuba and so forth, they're living in poverty. So I digress. Education and social conditioning foster intrinsic values. Okay. The idea is that if you raise people in a system that values cooperation over competition, they'll internalize those values and act accordingly. So whenever people compete for something in sports or things like that, when they win, they feel a fulfillment, success. They're proud of what they've done. And so competition is the best thing that leads to success. So you want to own your own business or something like that. You're going to put in the effort. You're going to put in the hard work, because when you create your own business and that business is successful, you have this sense of accomplishment. Okay. With communism, you can forget that. Okay. Because like I said, you can have a business, but everybody is equal. So you're running this business and you're moving into your squalor, while the oligarchs are living very comfortably, living very well. Material equality removes distractions. So without the pressure to get ahead, people are free to pursue meaningful work, creative expression, and community service. So it all boils down to this guy Marx felt that people that have a sense of what's the word I'm looking for? Communal responsibility. You know, it's not about the money. It's not about success or profit. It is about what one can do for others. And that's not going to fly, because at the end of the day, people are going to they're going to want more. They're going to want to achieve more. Capitalism has the idea that one could start from the bottom and make it to the top. A lot of them did. Patrick Bay-David started from the bottom. Mark Cuban. I don't want to hear Mark Cuban for even joining liberals is a dummy, okay? Because Mark Cuban started from the bottom. He started with nothing, and he became a billionaire. Now, you're telling me that now that Mark Cuban is a billionaire, when he was down there, but he took the initiative. He started off selling magazines, you know, trying to make $1. And then he used whatever little money he got, and he started to invest. He started to do the right thing. He worked hard. You're telling me now Mark Cuban has to take everything that he earned and just give it to others? No, that's his money. He worked hard for it, and he shouldn't have to give it to anybody. And nobody should. I don't care. People should be able to get up, be motivated, have a purpose. That's what leads to success. Socialism and communism do not work. And I wish more people would understand that. But for some reason, we have this belief that, gimme. This is how they destroyed, Black America. Because when they saw that, you know, Black Americans wanted that true equality, whereby they can go and start their own business and don't have to call it Black owned. That annoys me the most. But wanted to be able to be a part of that same society. All they just did was do a trial study with Blacks on socialism, and it worked. Because now we got our hands up. We feel like everybody's supposed to give us, and we're running the streets. We're violent. We're angry. We're ignorant. We're rude. I mean, the list goes on. And we'll sit there and say, oh, you know, that's not us. Yeah, it is. So, you know, I digress. These people are sick, and they really need help. If they really feel that communism is the way to go.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Grace?
Yes, Grace.
Good to meet
Hi.
you.
I want to say that I think it's pretty comical that an elite such as yourself has the goal to tell us average Americans who's in poverty and who's not. A lot of times,
I was an average American.
You're
I
not
was
anymore.
a guy that was in poverty.
You're not anymore.
And you can also
you're
change. You can also change.
Anyways,
Do you believe
you're
you can
talking
change?
down. A lot of times that the market for poverty is actually very low. So a lot of times, like $2 a day is the line for how they measure poverty.
$2.15, yeah.
And that's ridiculous. So if I make $5 a day, I'm not in poverty.
But that's because it's around the world,
actually
not
live.
in
I can
America.
pay the rent.
Sure.
But we're talking about this country, right? We're not talking about around the world. I've noticed that you like to do that. You like to skirt from America and talk about other countries
I've been
to try
saying
to make it look like
times,
we're better, but we're
America's
actually
the
getting
greatest
worse.
country in the world.
Anyways, it's the greatest country.
Hands down, it's not
We
even
are at the
close.
highest that we've ever been with homelessness since we started collecting
Why
data.
is that? Ask your. Are you from
because
California?
we haven't had a
Are
pay
you
raise
from
since
California?
2009.
Do you live
Our
here?
minimum wage nationally
Yeah.
is $7.25.
Okay.
And you wonder why we have the highest poverty rate. You think that capitalism's winning? Can you survive? Would you like to live off $7.25
I used
an
to
hour?
work for $4.25 at Haagen-Dazs.
Right.
Then I
And that
went
was
and
a
worked
very
at
different time.
Burger King for $4.75.
And how much do you make
Then
now?
I make millions today. Then
Right,
I worked
and that's
at
why
Bob's
you like
Big Boy.
capitalism, because we're not
No,
all making
but
that.
The, but
and
the
that's
difference
my point.
is, but
a
the difference
millionaire is
between
critiquing the people in poverty
no, the difference.
and saying
My
you should
hope,
work harder. You should work. You know,
my
you can
hope,
be lean.
My
we can't
hope,
all be it.
My hope is that you believe you can change and improve, that you believe you can upgrade yourself. That's my belief.
You know what? That's what rich people like you want to keep telling us.
But
you can be just like me. Do you want to be like me? If you work hard enough,
I'm not
you can
saying
be like
that.
me. It's not very realistic.
It's actually, you wouldn't be able to be like me because
You're
you wouldn't work that
talking down to
hard.
people like
Would
us.
you work that hard?
You don't.
Would you,
I'm not going to tell you. I don't have to answer that.
If you don't choose
have to measure my I don't have to measure my work ethic to be worthy.
You don't have to. Then you can't be upset for others who do so. You
can't be upset for people who are struggling.
No, because they work harder than you.
And that's what's wrong with capitalism, because
but
you
go
think
back to the
that
homelessness.
you have to work so hard.
Do you live in the state of California?
I do.
Okay, you said homelessness.
Yes.
What do you think about your Governor Newsom? What do you think about him?
I don't like him. I'm a progressive. He doesn't do enough for the people.
Do you know when he
takes corporate money.
Fantastic.
He takes money from people like
when
you.
He was,
he's not
I've never given him money. But do you know when he first became a governor,
surprise, but a lot
I would
of people
never
like
give
you
him
have.
money. But when he became a governor
money?
first, from then till today, he's raised the amount of homelessness in this state by 36,000 people.
Okay, you know, I don't like the guy, but he's not at fault for homelessness. People like you are. Billionaires like you are the problem.
Taxpayers gave him $24 billion. Taxpayers
I believe it.
gave
I don't
him
like that guy.
$24 billion, and he didn't do nothing with it.
Vote
It
him
increased.
out. Vote him out.
You
He's
vote
just
him
like
out. You have him. It's not that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not here to defend Newsom.
You can
but
go.
But you're not much different than him. That's all I'm saying. You're in the same class.
But you're sitting here blaming a person who's changed their lives for the better, and it's their fault. My dad was.
This is not the United States of Patrick Bet-David.
Do you know
this
where?
This is the United States of America.
I know, and I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to be here.
But are you willing to pay more taxes so that other people don't suffer? Are you willing to pay more taxes so other people don't suffer?
I am so grateful to be here.
I see you're skirting the question. You're not willing.
My dad was a cashier in Inglewood at a 99-cent store. We had nothing. No, I don't tell you that's great. We had nothing.
Well,
I'm the guy that had I'm the guy that had
the propaganda that you guys. But you can be like me.
But what you don't want to hear is that because it's the truth.
Can I ask you a question?
When's the last time you read a business book? When's the last time you read a self-help book?
I don't need to answer that.
When's the last time you read a self-help?
I wrote a self-help book. I'm a writer. I'm a creative.
Tell me what self-help book you read.
I'm not.
Give
I don't
me one.
Need to.
Give me one you read. Are you willing to take one recommendation?
No.
You're not.
Not for me.
Then I can't help you.
That's okay. I don't need your help. I didn't come here for your
great.
help. I
You've
came
been
here to debate
out.
you. Good.
Awesome.
I couldn't stomach that lady. She is by far the worst, okay? She's attacking Patrick Bet-David for his success. It's his success. Okay? I don't get these people. He becomes successful. He worked hard to get where he's at. Started off poor and became a millionaire. Good for him. That just tells me that I'm able to do the same. Started a social website and worked hard to get as many people as possible. So I took the necessary steps so that, and yes, I spent some money, but I took the necessary steps to get more people to join my social website. It just takes a matter of your determination, how much you believe in yourself. This lady is just all over the place with her, and then don't want to take no advice, and just, she's basically trying to insult him. And I love the way he handled her, but she's meant to. And I put my life on the line. If she have a job, I would love to see if she'll take her paycheck after the taxes and everything is paid for. She has a net income on for her paycheck, her net income. If she's going to give up half. Let's just give it to somebody. Give up half. She won't do it because she's fake. You know what she's going to say? The rich should do it because she's don't make as much as the rich. This is how fake they are. Okay. So, oh God, that's sickening. So let me see. I got some stuff done. I had to go get some notes. So why socialism and communism don't work, especially in America. America's cultural DNA clashes with collectivist systems, and here's why. Incentive breakdown. In socialism or communism, rewards are often disconnected from effort. If everyone gets the same regardless of contribution, motivation erodes. Bet-David challenged his opponents to name a successful case study, and they couldn't. You can't. There is no success, okay? Suppression of individualism. America values personal freedom, entrepreneurship, and dissent. Communism demands conformity and often punishes deviation. That's incompatible with the First Amendment and the entrepreneurial spirit. So go ahead and speak out. If you feel that if you live in a communist society, like go live in North Korea, Cuba, Russia, so forth, and speak out against the government and watch what happens. So these people are very clueless, okay? Economic inefficiency. Central planning fails to respond to market needs. Shortages, waste, and stagnation are common in socialist economies. In contrast, capitalism adapts quickly to consumer demand. Bingo. It adapts to consumer demand. We have a supply and demand. And so the market follows the supply and demand. And that's how I guess you can say, value, depending on price of supply and demand. With these other countries, there is none. There is none, especially in a socialist society. Historical failures. Bet David pointed to Cuba, Venezuela, and North Korea, countries with communist regimes that suffer from poverty, censorship, and human rights abuse. His offer of $20,000 and a first-class ticket to any communist country was a rhetorical gut punch. None of the socialists took it. Shook his hand, but they're not going there. Okay? I feel like these young bozos just want something to yell about, to be against, like, racism and so forth and blah, blah, this. I have no clue what they're talking about, okay? Dependency culture. In socialist systems, people often rely on the state for survival. In America, that undermines the ethic of self-reliance and personal responsibility that drives progress. So I complained that they tested socialism on blacks. And that's exactly what happened. Blacks became dependent. And now they rely on the government. Okay? They rely on the government for their survival. And this is what it is now. Republicans are different. They believe in self-reliance and personal responsibility. But when you say that, you're called a racist. Okay? So, I don't know, but these people, oh God, I don't know where they're getting their information from, but they really need help. Now, get ready for a real bozo.
What's your name?
Caleb.
Caleb.
Yeah, so you just said that you are proposing if we divided all the wealth equally in like 5 years. How would you propose we divide the wealth in that way? In this thought experiment, again, if we're going to give it a serious look, I want to understand, how would you propose that happen?
I hope you realize this is just a question we're asking everybody, right? But if you take all the wealth, which is around $500 trillion, okay, give or take, you divide it by 8 billion people, it would be around $62,500 each. Within 5 years, the people that don't know how to handle money themselves, they would lose it all. And within 5 years, the same wealthy would get the same amount of money.
As someone who certainly doesn't make that much money, I'm willing to take that as a gamble just for fun.
Right,
I'll be honest. But at the same time, like, okay, so you're just now claiming that people who don't have wealth don't know how to manage it. And that's fair because a lot of them have never had it before. So what do we do to basically ensure that people like myself who are currently, thank you to the United States, thank you to the state of California for giving me medical insurance to get blood work, for giving me food stamps so I can have food. I've applied to, I don't know how many hundreds of jobs. I can show you the receipts. I can show you the email confirmations. Like, I am trying my best to use my values with the freedom that we have
So if
here.
I give you a job, you would work 40 hours a week?
If the job is in alignment with something that's noble and good, I think I could. The issue is, and again, you may say that this is a personal weakness, but like right now, substitute teaching, tutoring, trying to help in that way is making it so that I'm able to scratch by. But without the supplemental income and the help from the society of people who make more money, I'm going to not have enough food.
I want to address something which you made a point that I agree with on why don't some people create wealth. In my family, when I was growing up, and I was telling this young lady over here, Well, my dad was a cashier at a 99-cent store. We've never owned an insurance policy before. My parents, we've never owned a house before. I've never lived in an apartment with a swimming pool before. We've never had a 401k, stock, mutual fund, none of that stuff. I had no clue how money worked. So for me, when I got out of the Army with a 1.8 GPA, out of high school, I went straight to the Army because I didn't know how money works. If you look at our system today, in high school, we learn about a lot of different things. They don't teach us about taxes, finances, mutual funds, stocks, bonds. Colleges don't even teach a lot of that right now. So
Do you
you
work
come
in
out.
a high school?
Did I work
Do
at
you
a high
have
school?
do you have experience like me, someone who's essentially on those front lines working in?
I've worked with many high school teachers and the directors of psychology to talk to the youth. Yes,
So
I have.
right now, I'm in a position where I have options, like you said. I do have some options, but they seem to be somewhat destructive and exploitative of me, of my peers. So I'm trying to
I think you're too
discriminate.
selective for jobs right now. You don't have the ability to be selective at this stage.
Well, but the thing
you
is,
really
I do
wanna make
because I'm
some-
instilled with a freedom that is maybe God universe given, and I don't actually have
Yeah.
to, because of the system, like you said, I don't have to play along with some corrupt game. So I gave up
I think California
a
is
career.
perfect for someone like you.
Well, thankfully,
Yeah, I think it
California
is.
agrees. But
Yep.
you mentioned earlier in a previous discussion that we have free speech, we can say what we want.
Right.
But the thing is, have you been punched on the train for how you look and how you share your ideas?
Do I look like an American to you? Do you see this nose?
No, I'm just asking,
I'm Middle
has-
Eastern. You know what's happened to this guy? You know what's happened to me when I was discriminated
do you
all over
really
the place?
feel like that's free
But-
speech
no,
if
but,
you're being
but I don't mind
punished
it. I don't
by people who have prejudice
I
against
don't
you?
mind it because I understand there is risk that you may be disrespected. They're like here, I've been disrespected here many times. I've been offended here many times. A lot of you are coming here finding a way to attack me and tell different stories. I'm okay with that.
I don't want to attack you.
You're being very respectful. I'm not talking about you. But what I'm saying to you is, when you say, have you ever been punched in the face on a bus? You don't want to hear about what things has happened to me because of the way I look.
Because I feel
but
like
I don't want to use
you've
that.
been through a lot of trauma
I don't
in your
wanna-
life,
but what I-
and now you're kind of clinging to things.
I'm not. What I don't want to
think
do that.
you
I
are.
have my son is sitting right here, my 13-year-old son, my 4-year. I have 4 kids. I bring them everywhere. I want them to see that it's okay. People gonna disagree with you. You have to be comfortable with
13-year-olds
this.
all the time.
You are with 13-year-olds all the time?
Because of my job, because I'm a substitute teacher and a tutor. The thing is,
Got it.
you
I
can
got it.
imply
Yeah.
many different things,
Got
and
it.
that is your right. But what I'm saying is, right now,
Yeah.
I care deeply about having a good experience. The incentive that I feel is for peace and prosperity.
I respect it.
And again, I'm using my freedom now, but the
I
issue is
respect
you're
it.
saying we have all these options, but whenever I tour
You
the
do,
globe,
but
I
you-
see franchises that have monopolized pretty much everywhere.
Sure.
So when you talk about options, it's really, there's these select few people who have this infrastructure that's really benefiting them more than others, and without some sort of conscious, spiritual, moral awakening, what can we do except for beg and appeal and
Well,
amass?
no, you can't be too selective. At
Well,
the
but you-
beginning,
again,
when I worked
I
at
don't like that
Haagen-Dazs,
word
I couldn't be too
can't, because you're
selective for a
saying
job.
I can't whenever I can.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
This code is kicking my behind. I do apologize, guys, but yeah, it's really getting to me. So, as you can tell, this guy, like I said, is a bozo. And what Patrick Bay David was talking about was that wealth is more of a behavior, okay? And it's not just financial. So, for instance, people that understand wealth, they would understand how to invest. They would take calculated risks. They delay gratification, and they would solve problems and create value. Those people would eventually accumulate more wealth again. Meanwhile, those who basically spend impulsively, they avoid risks. What else would they do? They would probably lack financial literacy, and they would probably depend on others for economic survival. Those are the ones who will lose it. So when he talks about if we divided all the money equally, it would end up back in the same hands within 5 years. That's what he's talking about. So you would have the ones who are fiscally responsible. They would end up with the wealth, while the ones who just lack discipline or lack financial discipline, they would lose. And that's what Patrick Bay David was talking about. So as you can tell, this guy just didn't know what he was talking about, or he had an idea, but he sounded more like, once again, a communist who got his hands out, who believed in the government should help. And that's why we have problems today, okay? And we really need to get these young people out of this mindset.
That Patrick is a really great salesman. I think that he came in and confidently sold what capitalism is. But I think that the main point of today really showed that capitalism's best product is giving excuses for its own failures.
I don't think that we should be giving these people a large platform to amass a larger following, but I do think that we should expose these people to the light. And I think that even if people have horrendous and repulsive views like he did, I want to hear them because I want to know who those people are.
I also don't think that he really listened to a lot of the claims. I also don't think everyone listened to his claims either. So I don't know how productive of a dialogue it was, but maybe we convinced some people at home one way or the other, and maybe there's some value to that, maybe not.
My vision for America is, if there's anything that's happened after COVID, we used to be here. We disagreed on issues here. This is center, this is libertarian, this is conservative. And then during COVID, we went here, where we are in a very interesting place that some people don't even want to talk to somebody else that they don't agree with. It's gotten to the point that we are a little bit too divided right now, and I'd like to see America be more united than as divided as it is.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, capitalism, for all its imperfections, has done what socialism and communism have repeatedly failed to do: unleash human potential, reward innovation, and scale prosperity across generations. Capitalism is the only system rooted in freedom. You choose your job, you choose your investments, you choose your future. Under socialism, the state chooses, and under communism, the state owns. Capitalism says, you earn, you own, you decide. This is what capitalism is about, okay? Capitalism rewards value creation, not ideology. So it doesn't care about your background unless you're a common criminal and stealing, and then, hey, we do care about your background because somebody like you can destroy somebody's future. So when it comes to that type of background, what I mean by background is in today's society. And yet, hold on, even during Jim Crow, we had a black woman who became the first, not just black, but female millionaire. And this was during Jim Crow. So go figure, okay? It cares about your output. What you put out is what you will receive, okay? Capitalism will never punish ambitions. It actually fuels it, because when a person is striving for that success, they will, put out all that energy, and it doesn't redistribute mediocrity. It incentivizes excellence. Everybody goes for a job. Nobody's gonna work for nothing. Okay, it's asinine to believe that people work because for the community. They're gonna work because they want to make money, and the more they make, the harder they're gonna work. That's the incentive. Okay, so I laugh at some of these people, but we'll see what happens. But I thought that was a great debate with Patrick Bet-David and a bunch of lunatics, especially that lunatic female. Oh man, I could be around her for 30 seconds. But I'm glad I was able to do this one. This one was great. I like to look at Jubilee to see what craziness they have, and I already talked about one, but this one was great. So let me know what you guys think about it. Please leave a comment below, or you can write me at themarcperspective@gmail.com, and just let me know what you think about this. If you support socialism or communism, please tell me. I support capitalism, and I I showed and I gave some information on why my beliefs on why capitalism work and why communism and socialism do not. So let me know what you think, but please remember to like, subscribe, and share this channel. And I'm going to see you guys again soon. All right. Y'all have a great day. Peace.